School. Like you, we are remote too, as you can tell. So welcome to the virtual Salem show. Happy Friday. I'm Katie, and you'll meet the other cast members later. So let's get on with the show. So first, I have some announcements. In-person instruction starts back November 30th. So, and also make sure when your Chromebook gets down to 5%, charge it. Shut down your Chromebook to charge it. This will eliminate most issues in charging Chromebooks. Also, make sure you're not leaving the Chromebooks out in the cold. They are sensitive.
Lion Nation weather. Thanks, Carson, for making these graphics. A little technical difficulty, so I'm going to have to do the weather for Carson. Today, we have a high of 63 with a low of 48. And don't forget, we do have a girls basketball game at Eastern. Then Saturday, tomorrow, high of 61 with a low of 46. Chance of rain all throughout the day. Again, we have a basketball game. This time it's at Madison. And Sunday, a high of 63 with a low of 36. Then for your 5-day weekday forecast, Monday, high of 48, low of 30, partly sunny. Tuesday, high of 46, low 39 with some rain. And then Wednesday, happy Thanksgiving Eve, a high of 52 with the low of 37 and rain. Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, high of 54 degrees, low of 39 degrees with rain. And the theme continues on for Friday with a high of 52, low 30 and rain. So we'll send it over to sports with Carly.
So let's dive into this week's Sports Minute Plus. Before we get into the sports news, we have an interview with Salem Lions head basketball coach William Cantrell.
So today we get to talk with the boys head basketball coach. Thanks for sitting down with me today, Coach Cantrell.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, so first off, welcome to Indiana, and the big question on everyone's mind is why Indiana and why Salem?
Yeah, so Indiana was the big draw, more so than specifically Salem, but Indiana has been a goal of mine in terms of coaching high school boys basketball for about as long as I can remember. So there are literally thousands of coaches that are trying to get into this state to coach basketball. And so it takes time, it takes connections and things like that. And when you finally get a break in terms of a school that might consider you, you jump at it. And so I was lucky enough for Salem to show some interest. And when we got here, just felt like this was a really good fit for me and my family. So.
Yeah. So if you don't mind just telling us a little bit about yourself, just kind of where you're from, family, schools, favorite sports, mentors, anything like that.
Right, sure. So as you've already heard and known, I'm from Georgia, which is not close. And so we've got lots of family and friends down that way. My wife and I were born and raised there in Georgia. Specifically for the last 14 years, we've lived in Athens, Georgia, which is right outside UGA. So we're big UGA fans, pretty much every sport. So we're supporting the Dogs pretty much every weekend, year round. In terms of just where I went to school, I actually didn't go to UGA. I actually went to Georgia College, which is in the middle of the state pretty much. And I played basketball there, and it was a D2 school. It was a great experience for me. And my wife attended UGA, and so that was why we initially moved to Athens, is because she still had a year left of school when we got married. So we moved there so she could finish school and just never left until about 3 months ago. So
wow.
Here we are.
And then do you have any kids?
Yeah, we do. We have two beautiful kids. We've got a 9-year-old female named Joey. Okay, I always have to specify that because, you know, we gave her a boy name, but we really liked it. And there's a story behind that, which we can tell some other time. But and then I have an 8-year-old son named Knox.
All right, nice. So when you rolled into Salem for the first time, did you hear the Hoosier movie theme song playing in your head?
Well, that's a kind of a trick question because I always have that theme song playing in my head, so that doesn't really count, I don't think. But yeah, sorta. You know, it's just kind of the small town Midwest feel.
Oh yeah, welcome to Salem. So what are some of the adjustments you and your family have had to make moving from the Peach State to the Hoosier State?
Yeah, so most of our adjustments have revolved around relationships. So, the quality of your life is mostly determined by the company that you keep. And so, like I said, all of our friends and family are still back in Georgia. And so it's been a process for us meeting new people and trying to create new relationships. Our kids have done phenomenal. But of course they're in school every day, so they're surrounded by a bunch of kids. But we're very thankful that they have made several friends, and they look forward to going to school and hanging out with their buddies and stuff like that. For my wife and I, it's a little bit more tricky, just because adults are busy. I mean, everybody has a job pretty much, and kids, and they're running around and doing all kind of stuff. So it's hard to make those connections, and it's just going to be a matter of time. But for the most part, that's been probably the most challenging thing.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, I've never moved states before, but I would just think like making new friends and kind of having to start a new life would definitely be like the toughest challenge you have.
Definitely.
So I know you've only been in Indiana for a short time and haven't had a game yet, but have you noticed any differences between Indiana basketball and Georgia basketball?
Oh yeah, I mean it's night and day. It's night and day. I've gotten that question a lot actually from my friends and family, but there's just a greater sense of care here. There's a bigger anticipation for the season, and it's just a different culture. It's just a different vibe all the way around.
Yeah, we sure do love basketball here in Indiana. So COVID has stolen the summer, and a successful football season has shortened your time with your players before your team's first game. So what are you doing to try to install your system with such a short amount of time?
Yeah, so I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to operate under the banner of KISS. So just keep it simple, stupid. We're not trying to overwhelm anybody, because again, there's so much that the kids need to learn from me and that I need to learn from them, that as simple as we can keep things, the better off we're going to be in the long run. So it's going to be a process. I had to come to grips with the idea and the reality of our kids not knowing everything that I want them to know, especially right off the bat. They probably won't even know everything that I want them to know this first year. And that's okay. It's a process. We're gonna build a program here, and so this is longer than a 1-year deal. So that's okay. We're gonna try and keep things as simple as possible, but as effective as possible.
Yeah, so again with COVID, it makes it hard to develop relationships with your players. So how do you plan on getting to know your players and team as a whole?
Yeah, so thankfully during the day I teach weight training, and I've got a lot of them in weight training. So I'm interacting with most of them on a daily basis outside of just practice. There's other things that we like to do in terms of just pulling a kid into the office for 10 or 15 minutes and just trying to hear their story, just trying to figure out where they came from, what's your family like, what was your upbringing like, all those kind of things. And those kind of things can't be rushed. I mean, it's just a process. I'm hoping that one of the things that my kids take from me is that I genuinely care about them. I genuinely care about their heart and where they're headed and all those kind of things. And so but that's based on trust, and trust is earned over a period of time. And so we're just going to have to take it one day at a time.
Yeah, which I think that's a great quality to have as a coach, other than just coaching basketball, where you actually care about them and want them to see you do good on the court and in life. So speaking of your system, some coaches focus more on offense, where they try to just outscore the other team. Other coaches focus on defense and try to keep scores in the 40s. So what's your system or philosophy?
Yeah, so I tend to be a little bit more defensive minded. We like to do a lot of different things defensively. and we try to switch things up. We try to stay as unpredictable as possible. We like to dictate the action through our defense, and so with that, we have a lot of different calls and a lot of different rotations and things like that, and that's really what we've been spending most of our time on is on the defensive side of the floor. And I know everybody wants to play offense, and even when I was a player, I loved offense. I wanted to score all the time and do all that kind of stuff. But as a coach, I'm not really sure what changed, but something changed, and I've just been all about defense since. So, you will see probably. If you guys attend our games, you'll see us do a number of different things defensively that probably not a whole lot of other people do.
Yeah, which I know for the Lady Lions, Coach Hickey will always tell us that our defense will win us games. And so I think for us playing for our 4th year now, we've just grown up being more of seeing like defense and that, it's really important.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, defense travels, right? I mean, you're not always going to have a great night offensively. So sometimes you're going to go out and shoot 8% and a half, and but your defense is going to be right there to keep you in the game. So that when your offense does catch up, now you got the advantage.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your seniors. What do you expect out of them this year?
Yeah, I think for the most part, I expect them to buy in to what we're asking them to do. That's the first expectation. I expect them to buy into what we're doing, and then be an example for everybody. Just by virtue of their age and the year they are in school, people are going to naturally look at them for leadership and naturally look at them for an example and those kind of things. And it just comes with the territory. So again, I'm looking for buy-in. I'm looking for them to really take ownership of the team. One thing that we're trying to really install into our kids is that the best teams are player-led. If they're constantly waiting on me or one of our assistant coaches to light a fire or direct all the time, then we're probably not going to reach our full potential. And those best teams are always player-led. They're always self-sustaining, if you will, in terms of, hey, coach isn't necessarily looking right this second. He's looking over here at something else. Do we slack off or do we hold each other accountable and continue to get better? So for our seniors, we want them to really take the reins in that idea.
Yeah, that's awesome. So since you're new, have you really had time to know the other teams in the Mid-Southern Conference?
No, definitely not. I hear things and obviously have conversations and stuff like that, but I've got enough on my plate just learning my own guys. So. Yeah,
I don't blame you on that one. So is there anything else you would like to say to Lion Nation?
Yeah, I mean, Indiana basketball has been a dream of mine, and so far being here at Salem has been nothing short of awesome. I mean, I love coming to school every day. I really do. And with all the COVID stuff, it's even harder because I look forward to coming to school all the time. So again, I think the thing that I would want to say first and foremost is just thank you for welcoming me and my family. But secondly is that we need as much support as we can possibly get. A community is something that I've always sought after in terms of, being in, town every day, knowing people, supporting each other, no matter what the sport is. And so again, it's basketball in the winter, and we just need that support as much as we can possibly get.
Yeah, which I will tell you that growing up in this community, I've just noticed how close we are. And, going to state this year with the girls, our community showed up for us.
Absolutely.
And I don't even doubt that they are going to show up for you at your basketball games and then support you and try to get to know you more as who Mr. Cantrell is than just the Salem boys basketball coach.
Right, that's the hope.
So I just want to thank you for taking time to talk to me today. The Lions will host the new Washington Mustangs this Wednesday at 6 p.m. for a scrimmage. They will officially start their season Wednesday, November 25th. The JV will tip it off at 6 p.m. with the varsity to follow. Catch all the home games on SLN at IHSAA TV. Go Lions!
The Lions basketball team hosted a scrimmage against Charlestown on Wednesday night. It was nice to see the guys finally getting to play. You have to trust us that they played. As you know, because of COVID, there are no fans as of right now allowed to be in the gym for basketball. The first official game against the school out west will be rescheduled to a later date in the year. The Lions will tip off their season at home on Tuesday, December 1st. JV starts at 6 p.m. with varsity to follow. The game will also be available through the SLNN livestream. The number 2 ranked Salem Lady Lions have started their season off with a combined JV and varsity record of 7-0. Wait, we're number 2? Weren't we just number 1? And we're still undefeated? The things that make you go, The Lady Lions defeated the Seymour Owls with a score of 45-31, the Clarksville Generals with the score of 68-22, the Crawford County Wolfpack with a score of 60-26, and the number 5 1A Jacksonville Eagles with a score of 59-38. Here's an interview with the Salem Lady Lions head basketball coach, Jerry Hickey.
Today we get to chat with the number 1 in 3A Lady Lions head basketball coach, Jerry Hickey. Thank you for talking with us today, Coach Hickey.
Thanks for having me.
So my first question is, I know you're busy with other job of being assistant principal here at Salem High School. How do you balance both jobs, being a father of 2 and also being a husband? It has to be exhausting.
It's tough, and I do most of my work late at night, especially when the kids go to bed. So I don't sleep a lot during basketball season. Fortunately, I have good assistants to help me out, and they watch a lot of film as well, and so that's how we put our scouting reports together. And it's tough, but I have a very understanding wife and understanding kids for that matter as well. So for the first time, my oldest daughter will be playing the same nights as us, and that'll make a big difference this winter.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Let's rewind a little bit. Your teams have won back-to-back conference titles, 4 sectional titles, 2 regional titles, and a 2020 state finals appearance in your years of coaching at Salem, and you won Coach of the Year last year. What are your team goals this year?
To have a season probably is number 1. That's our biggest fear. That's something that we haven't talked about really so far as much as we usually do because we were so rushed at the beginning of the season. But I think it starts with conference and sectional. That's where your first goals are, and then we know we have a team that has the ability to go further. So we'll start with conference and sectional and just kind of take the icing on the cake from there.
All right, good answer. So you lost 3 big seniors from last year's squad. How confident are you that your team can make another state run this season?
We lost 3, but we bring back 5, and then we bring back 6 juniors, and we bring back 3 all-state players and 2 first-team all-conference players, an honorable mention all-conference players. So there aren't a lot of teams in the state that can say they're bringing back that kind of talent. And this group of seniors is a group that I've waited on, from 6-7 years since I've started, actually longer than that. And so this is a group I've been looking forward to for a long time. So I think they can go as far as they want to go.
All right, love to hear that. So we always think about what is happening on the hardwood when we discuss the Lady Lions basketball team. However, we know there's much more to basketball than X's and O's. What other lessons you teach your players?
We talk a lot about character and just what it means to be a good person. I think that's something that's special about this team and our team over the last few years is we just have genuinely good people, good kids. Talk about grades, what comes first, what's most important, what they're doing on the weekends. And I think that's just a big part of it. And I think one thing we do really well that you don't get a lot of times in high school teams is I think we care about each other a lot. And that's from players to coaches. And I think there's not a lot of bickering behind closed doors between our team. And I think those things are really important.
Yeah, and I think from a player's perspective, it means a lot that you care about what we're doing and kind of how we're doing in school instead of just basketball. So that's really good that you want to teach them other lessons. So let's talk about your seniors. What do you expect out of them this year?
Leadership, a big part of that. Just to keep that example going. probably with Hopley and Letty and losing them, one of the biggest things, beside from just their overall ability, was their character. And they all three were in the top 15 of their graduating class, and just outstanding kids that were, they serve the community. They thought more about other people than they do themselves, and I want our seniors to continue that and to show our younger kids. We've got 7 freshmen that moved in that need some examples for this is how Lady Lion basketball does it. So that's a big part. Obviously we expect for them to be role models on the court as well. We expect a lot of points. Carly's our returning scorer, and we expect her to be in that role or around that role this year again. They're going to log a ton of minutes and lead us to a ton of wins.
Yeah. All right. So do you have any good stories that you would like to share about the seniors?
To sit here and think about them, I wouldn't be able to include them all individually. I mean, Carly wiping out and almost taking out Coach Jackson a couple years ago is one of the funnier ones. Olivia and her wipeouts on the court and even upstairs. So those are some of the funnier ones. But I think probably as a group, our first sectional in 2015, I remember that this senior class was 6th, 7th grade about that time, and it was time to cut the nets down, and they were standing in line to cut the nets down. And I came over to Christy and said, listen, I love this group, I love this class, and I said, but I want them to earn the right to cut those nets down. And so it was a really tough decision because I thought so highly of the class. But still, we kind of pulled them off the court and didn't let them cut the nets down. And I remember going over, and I'm sure you guys don't, but I remember going over and explaining, you guys are going to do this yourselves one day. And so I think it's pretty cool when we had that conversation all those years ago, and now all 3 years so far, there's been nets cut down at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's honestly so crazy to think about. So we hear all the time that you enjoy coaching this team. Why is that? And then is there any particular characteristic that makes up the team?
They're fun. It's an interesting group of personalities, from the seniors and on down. Our freshmen bring a lot of life to us this year too, which is strange. Usually freshmen are pretty quiet, but again, I just think the quality of people, we've been lucky and had groups of kids that those are kids that you want to spend time with, and kids that you hope to have a relationship with when they graduate, and just really good people. The trust that I have in you guys and in our seniors is as much as any that I've ever had before. And when you don't have those worries outside of school, and are they getting their schoolwork done, are their grades up? When you don't have to worry about those things, and you don't have to worry about do they play hard, it makes it all a lot more fun.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about everyone's favorite subject for 2020, the elections. No, I'm just kidding. Let's talk about COVID. What are some of the precautions and protocols that you and your team are taking to try to avoid the virus running rampant through the team?
Masks are the biggest part. We wear our masks on the bus, on the bench, any chance. I'm constantly telling them, during the JV, during the varsity game, the varsity during the JV game, pull your mask up. We're wearing them on the sidelines in practice when we're sitting around. We check our symptoms every day before we come in, and we've been real easy in the locker room, and our locker room's under half capacity, and so all the stuff that Coach Whedon set forth, that our board's approved, that the State Board of Health has approved. So something that's in our mind, or at least in my mind every day, the worry of COVID. And so my worry is that it just disappears. My hope is it disappears and we're able to finish a full season.
Yeah, I agree with you. So after getting a late start to the season, what were some of the adjustments you made, especially since the team only had 10 days to prepare for Seymour this past Saturday?
We just had a lot to get in a short amount of time. And the luxury there is, like I said, 5 seniors, 6 juniors coming back. So we went to the state final game last year and bring back so much from that. So it's not like we were going to reinvent what we're doing. We do what we do. We look this year like we looked last year, like we looked the year before. So from that standpoint, it was pretty easy. Getting in shape, getting the extra shooting in, We lost the last 2 weeks of conditioning because of COVID, and first week of practice, first actual 7 days of practice. So more than anything, it was, do we have the sideline out of bounds plays in, the length of the court out of bounds plays, do we have our delay game in, and just making sure you kind of check off all the boxes was probably the toughest part. But with our upperclassmen group, it's gone pretty smooth.
That's good. So after playing after playing 3 games, what are some things you feel that your team needs to improve?
We need to box out. We're not boxing out very well at all. Always need to crash the boards. Conditioning still, it's getting better. It was better Tuesday night, but we still need to get our conditioning up, and that's tough. That usually doesn't come for a few weeks anyway. Communication, especially on defense, were probably just the key things on the court.
All right, so considering the number 5 and 1A Jacksonville game this Saturday, never playing the perennial 1A powerhouse team before, how are you preparing for this game?
Well, and we're going to be their first game this year, so we don't get to see anything from them this year. They return almost everyone from last year. I think they only lost 1 player basically. So we've gotten 5 or 6 films from last year, and I've been watching those and kind of seeing what they do. They've won, like I said, powerhouse. I mean, they've won the last 12 sectionals, won state 4 years ago, multiple regionals, semi-states. So they're an outstanding group, and that's why we wanted to play them. So normally we don't play a lot of 1A schools, but when you have the opportunity to play one that's won 12 straight and 17 in the last 20, we'll take that. Mostly, the key to us is let's do what we do, and so just continue to hammer that home in practice. And we don't change anything night to night or week to week for a team, but it'll be a good test tomorrow.
Yeah. So you just had like a key to victory, or kind of saying we do what we do, but what are some of the other keys to victory that you think about?
Stay out of foul trouble. We've had some foul trouble in the games. So much is dictated by our press and getting going, turning the ball over. Shooting, if our shooting's on, we're real tough to beat. And that first game in the first half was a little ugly. We were down at halftime, and we shot 8% from the floor. And since then, it's been better every half. And since then, we've had some pretty lopsided wins. So those are some of the things that really get us going.
All right, so let's look at the Mid-Southern Conference. All the talk on social media and the news is the number 3 Silver Creek Dragons and their 3 Kentucky transfers. Who do you see as the favorite to win the MSC?
I'm a big believer in, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. And we've been real successful in our conference the last few years. And so, I don't know how you would say we wouldn't be the team to beat. We know Silver Creek's good. The Kentucky Dragons are averaging about 50 points a game, and the rest of the Silver Creek Dragons are averaging about 12, I think. So we know they're good. They're talented. They're well coached. So it's going to be a battle. I mean, when they come up here in January, I think it's the 12th maybe this year. That's probably the highlight game in the state. I think you've got maybe the 2 best teams, and if not 2 of the 3 best teams in the state playing. So should be interesting. And that's not to discount, Brownstown tied us for the conference last year, brings back a lot of players. I think they beat New Albany by 28 last night. Scottsburg's really good. Charlestown has beat Madison already. They're really good. North Harrison has 2 junior all-star candidates. And Corydon had a girl score 38 points in an overtime against Brownstown last week. So we're loaded top to bottom. I didn't even say Eastern, who's the number 2 team in the state, 2A. So our conference is loaded, maybe the best in the state. And I think we are 24-2 in the conference over the last 3 years. So we're hoping to extend that out a little better and make that 32-2 at the end of this season.
All right, so going back to the MSC, since most of the same teams in sectional are in the same MSC, with the exception of Madison, who do you see coming out on top in sectional?
Well, and I'll answer that kind of like the conference. To be the man, you've got to beat the man. And so we've won it the last 3 years, 4 of the last 6, and so someone's going to have to take it from us. We're not going to give it away, no matter who's on the other side. And it's going to be a battle. We know it. You mentioned Madison. They might have the best player in the sectional in Jade Nutley, and But I think ultimately what it comes down to is who's the best team. And I think, when you look at our 1 through 12, we like our team, as much as anybody. And it'll be a lot of fun. I think it is the best sectional in the state. And so having won that 3 times in a row, and I would love to see our seniors check that off and go 4 for 4. I mean, I don't think people have a clue how hard that is. When North Harrison had that great group that went to the state finals twice, they only won 2 sectionals out of that 4 years. So I don't think people understand how hard it really is.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Our sectional is pretty tough, and just all the teams we play are definitely very good. So, but I do hope that we can come out on top. So is there anything else you would like to say to Lion Nation?
Hopefully you're watching. It's going to be a little different going to games. I think it may be even tougher coming up in the next few weeks. So we play hard for you, and just appreciate all the support we've got in the last several years. I mean, the last few years have been amazing. So we appreciate that, and just can't tell you what a good group of girls we have and how much fun it is. So we're in the midst of a run that doesn't happen very often anywhere, and so I hope people don't take that for granted and just say, hey, I want it to be the expectation, but 4 sectionals in 4 years, or 4 in 6 years, 3 in a row, hopefully 4 in 4 years is pretty awesome.
All right, so thank you, Coach Hickey, for taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down with me today, or I guess stand there with me. The Lady Lions will travel to Osgood, Indiana to face off against the number 5 Lady Eagles of Jacksonville tomorrow. They travel to Eastern next Friday, and they will finally have their first home game against the Madison Lady Cubs Saturday, November 21st. The JV will tip it off at 6 p.m. with the varsity to follow. Catch all the home games on SLNN at IHSAA TV. Go Lady Lions.
Thank you.
The Lady Lions will play the Eastern Musketeers Friday, November 20th, the Madison Cubs Saturday, November 21st, and the West Washington Senators Tuesday, November 24th. Please keep checking social media and the school website for any changes because, well, that COVID thing could change things. We'd love to hear from our other sports. Please email Mr. Wade Swift with details of your season, or you could go to our Facebook page or Twitter feed to share anything. Well, that's all for me. Let's head back to Katie for some vacation ideas. Katie?
All right, so time for our COVID-free zone with travel talk. Considering we might be going into lockdown mode once again, I have 3 tropical destinations for you to dream about. I don't know about you, but I love dreaming about future vacations to take. If you love the beach and clear waters, this segment is for you. So my first destination is the Maldives, and the Maldives are strung across the Indian Ocean southwest of India and Sri Lanka. They have luminous blue water surround the Maldives. Water compromises 99% of the Maldives. Many luxury resorts are located throughout the Maldives, and the resorts are known for their water bungalows. Diving and snorkeling are world class, and the Maldives is also a top surfing destination with the most popular surf spot in the North and South Male atolls. A secret talent I have is that I actually know how to surf. The destination is definitely one of the top spots on my bucket list. My second destination is Bora Bora, Tahiti. Bora Bora is a South Pacific paradise. It is a dramatically beautiful island in French Polynesia that rises to a sharp emerald pink ringed by a lagoon. Clusters of coconut palms are planted along the beaches, and the luxury bungalows perch over the crystal clear waters, some with glass floor panels so you can peer into the thriving sea below. While Bora Bora scores top points for natural beauty, it also ticks the box if you're seeking some cultural appeal. The official language is French. Fun fact. Some things to do include fun water sports, kayak trips to Tiny Motu, which is islands, and hiking trails and adventures such as shark dives, which I personally do not like sharks, so that would not be for me. My third destination is Kauai, I don't know. Hawaii. Kauai is known as the Garden Isle with lush rainforests, waterfalls, and spectacular green coastal peaks. A natural masterpiece of dramatic lava-sculpted landscapes, the island has a more laid-back vibe than its popular sister islands of Maui and Oahu. Underwater, you'll find colorful coral reefs where turtles and tropical fish swim. On land, you can bask on golden beaches, admire the cloud-capped scenery from the cliffs above Hanalei Bay, hike among the velvety peaks of the breathtaking Nepali coast, and explore the deep and jungly 10-mile-long Wyoming Canyon. Tropical gardens, waterfalls, cute coastal towns, and fantastic surf breaks are other top tourist attractions. Don't be surprised if you find yourself sharing the beach with slumbering monk seals. Nature reigns here, and that's a big part of the island's allure. All these destinations sound like such a dream to me. If you're not much of a beach person, tune in to the next episode where I'll discuss more of vacationing in the mountains. All right, so SHS, have a great weekend, and don't forget to tune in next week to our hopefully live broadcast from the Washington County Community Foundation Studios here at Salem High School. And remember, fins up,